What is going on, YouTube? Southern Comic Geek coming to you. And as I told you in my last live video, if you were one of the few that watched it, I've got a special package today. Yo, what's going on, Perry? Yeah, Perry doing a little lurking today. Hopefully staying corona-free down in the Southway. Agu, yes, Agu, pop it in as well. So yes, I have finally completed it. Lurking, well, you can keep the jerking part to yourself, Barry, because you're not going to have no jerk bait here. At least I hope not. But yeah, so anyway, well, you can lurk, just don't jerk. But anyhow, thank you all for stopping by and watching this. Perry's done blew his wad, man. Whew, Perry, you're a quick shot, man. Yes, everybody that is watching live or everybody that's catching this on the rewind, I hope you are all doing well, able to get, well, I'm glad to see that the notifications are working because my notifications for YouTube have not been working. I've got channels that normally I catch, and then I look and say, well, they just did a live stream. Where have I been, But so last week I pulled the trigger on the last few books in order to complete my set. And one of them came in yesterday. It was coming from Texas. And so got here a little quicker. Quick shot Perry. Pew pew. But anyway, this one was coming from New Jersey. And so I had talked to the guy last month and indicated what I wanted to pay for it. He thought he had other people that would pay what he wanted for it. And as we get a little bit closer, just one pew. Well, Perry might be talented, he's still a young buck. He can do that kind of stuff. And then we're closer. But so I come back and said, hey, have you thought any more about my offer? And so he came down a little bit more. He was about $30 off from what I really wanted to spend. And you got to be careful with things like this. And so I said, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and call this done. So I sent him the PayPal monies. And the rest is history. I just got Midtown Box, a little Lobo statue, a little Lobo comics. Lobo, probably for the low Bobo price. Yeah, he's a decade younger, so he must be talented. What's a BB-19? It's probably a knockoff of a BB-8. I don't know. BBB-19. Oh, my hat. So I'm a little slow, Perry. I'm not like you. I'm not a fast jerker. The BB-19 is bikes, blues, and bayou. So I ride my bike, and you can't really see it over here by all my little medals and such. And that was one of the rides I did last year. Unfortunately, last year, a guy got hit and killed during the ride. But real nice guy, but it's one of those things. Congratulations, Perry. Live unboxing later. Yes, we were on the road. If you're up in Greenwood, Mississippi, that's what the people refer to as the Delta. And so it's flatland. I mean, you can see. So that was probably one of the last places you would think something like that would happen. But the guy had his headphones in, and he saw the people directing traffic. So he thought that the traffic had done stopped, but the people were, so he wasn't paying attention. He was just glued in on keeping on. And because he had his headphones in, he couldn't hear. And so the truck T-boned him and killed him. So kind of a bad ordeal. Make some videos. I don't really know. Probably just get drunk and pass out at the dining room table. Sounds like the Corona life there, Perry. Cool. Yeah. This right here is places I've visited. I have another map that's similar over here of all the places that I've biked. So I've got Italy and France and Monaco, Alaska, and different places I've rode my bike. Used to ride the BMX bikes. Yeah, I never was talented for BMX. My boss is a big mountain biker, but I tell him I'm too big of a scaredy cat to be a mountain biker, and he's like, "Well, you're too. What are you talking about? You're out there on the road, and these people don't even pay attention to you coming across the street." Because I have been hit by a car before. Luckily, because it sounds worse than what it really was. Could have been worse. The guy didn't stop at the stop sign, and I technically hit him. But anyhow, that's the way it goes. And so I had lost 50 plus pounds, and the way I done it was cutting back and riding my bike. However, I have been slack as of late because this coronavirus has not slowed down my work schedule any. And so I've been wide open. The weather's been horrible, so it just haven't been working. Comic Mag Musings, thanks for stopping by and checking this out. So doing a little unboxing, not just a little unboxing, but a huge unboxing. And I've got that ready right there. So I'm going to open the smaller stuff first and save the best for last. Unlike Perry, he just wants to go ahead and hit it and get it over with. I like to take my time. You'll learn that with age, Perry. It'll come with age. It'll come with age. Anyway, so yes, I'll be here all week. So I was on a late night auction with Z Collects, and I had anticipated us still having certain Comic Cons. I guess I was a little naive to this whole Corona deal, and so I told Z to go ahead and send me the books I had because I was wanting to get them pressed and get them ready for the con and whatever. And then lo and behold, so he goes and sends them, and then I end up buying some more stuff from him last night. Could have fit some more books. Saved on some shipping. Ship it. So anyway, so let me open up some of these. So got some goodies in here. Got a Wolverine 152. I believe this is from the first series of Wolverine. Wolverine got a little tongue action. Perry, you can appreciate that tongue action right there. Wolverine 151. Don't remember these. I think these were just kind of the extras. I've seen this thing around and finally decided to go ahead and pull the trigger when I saw Z had it for sale, and that's the Deadpool #5, the Garbage Pail Kid homage. Used to collect Garbage Pail Kids back in the day. If I was good enough in elementary school, I would get a pack of Garbage Pail Kids going and coming. And so this is Scott Hepburn, which I do have a sketch cover done by him and Scotty Young. Doing this book here, so pretty cool cover, and picked that up. Also been wanting to get this book, and found it in a good enough affordable grade, and I planned on getting it pressed, but I'm not sure if a press is really going to help this book, but we'll see. Avengers Annual #10, first appearance of Rogue. And I like to get stuff multiply signed, and there's a lot of good Michael Golden, Chris Claremont, and there's somebody else I'm forgetting right now, but somebody else that could sign that too. Origin #2, got the little claw action, little third claw looking right there, like it's going to fix the pop out there. And then this is a what they call them, it's not lenticular, but DC did some of these not too long ago. Ooh, got Sinister right there. So yeah, and the funny thing was, Rogue used to be drawn all back in the day, and I guess they figured out, wouldn't it be greater if like Rogue was hot and then like you can't touch her at all? So wouldn't that be even better? So when Rogue came back from the Siege Perilous, little X-Men knowledge, as it were, when Rogue came back from the Siege Perilous, she was hot. So the Siege Perilous did the deal where Psylocke and Quantum, merged their minds and such. And Storm came back as a kid. There was a couple of other caveats to folks. Acetate, thank you. Comic Mag Musings. It was right there on the edge of my mind, but you pulled that out, and so that was great. So, yes, that was the acetate cover. So yeah, so she came through and she came back hot, and and the rest is history, as they say. Wolverine 149. Got a little Nova action going on there. Then we got Wolverine 150. I think he had all these Wolverines for pretty cheap, and I said, hey, I'm already getting some stuff. I did not have any of these, so that's always good. And because the main things I wanted was this one right here, and the Garbage Pail one, and the Rogue First Appearance. So I think I know what this is. I did have a sketch cover that was supposed to come in today that 38 Chambers Studio done for me that looks smoking hot. The cover, not him, but anyway. It was supposed to come in, but then it appears that the post office had a delay, and it'll end up being here tomorrow. But I got some other stuff coming in tomorrow. One of the bad things about being able to the comic shops starting to shut down is I've got too much time or money to look at stuff online. I believe I know what this is, and I don't think that is it, because he's not in North Carolina. He's in Jersey. How you like that Jersey accent? Jersey. So again, appreciate everybody for watching this live or on the rewind, and just doing a little unboxing before we get to the master. About spoiled the fun and just did like Perry and just went ahead and got it over with. But do a little tease there. So, yes, this one. So, as most of you that have been watching my videos know, big Valiant fan, especially from the 90s era of Valiant. Only need like 2 of Bloodshot to have the full volume 1 set, 1 of the Magnus to have the full set. I've got all of the Rye, all of the Eternal Warrior comics, all the hardcore comics, a lot of the Exos, and so this is one of the Exos that I needed. This is the first appearance of Harbingers, and there they are. See, this is Exo. They're down in the New Orleans area because I believe Shadow Man might be in this one too. They're down there in the New Orleans area, and so Exo must be drunk. Just chilled out and fell out drunk, like Perry said he was going to do later on today. And interestingly enough, I was reading an article about the coronavirus and why New Orleans has spread so far. And they said it was Mardi Gras. And I said, yeah, I guess that would kind of make a little sense. So, yeah, I was surprised somebody like Perry hadn't come up to the New Orleans area and hit the Mardi Gras up any. So, yeah, so pick that one up, which is a key book. Hopefully, Bloodshot does well enough. It kind of was in the perfect storm that it hit the weekend this whole Corona stuff hit. So hopefully that doesn't derail them from doing a Harbinger movie. Paramount owns the rights to it now, and so they're anxious to get into that game, and so hopefully they can do it and do a decent enough job. But hey, I bought it from the PC, didn't buy it to spec on, but that is a little spec information for you. And this is the big boy. This is the one that completed it all. That started it all. This is X-Men #1. And so the guy that bought it. He has several of these on Instagram for sale. Not that he's paid me to solicit for him, but he bought these from a collection. This Brian Mingolini. He had this stamped on all his books and wrote the deal in there. So it was amazing when I started looking at this that check. Want to be delicate. It shows some of the findings here. That old comic smell. And so yeah, first appearance of the original X-Men, including Professor X and Magneto. So Definitely some goodness there, some Jack Kirby goodness. And so my plans are I've already bought a reproduction cover for this. I've contacted PGX and CGC to find out how they would grade this. CGC said that even with the reproduction cover that they would put no grade on it, but it would be a regular label. I really didn't understand that because I would think with the, I guess if I wanted to have surgery on it, I could put the cover, attach the cover, would it then get a purple label but maybe a higher grade, just a purple label, which I'm fine with, by the way, because it's just from a PC. But I do want to keep the book preserved, and I like it would present a lot better with that reproduction cover. PGX said that they would grade it a 0.5. Didn't matter how it looked, it was going to be a 0.5. That's the lowest they go was 0.5, but it would be a regular label. So I was like, I could pay CGC more to tell me no grade, or I could just pay PGX and at least get a 0.5. So some of the last couple of issues, because they were kind of hefty in price, because like I said, even though this doesn't have a cover, this thing was still pretty pricey. I want to have like the first 25 at least X-Men slabbed, and so some of them are coverless, and I bought the reproduction covers for them already, and so I'm going to get those all put together and get those slabbed and preserved and part of my collection. So I've been kind of wondering, what do I do from here? I mean, I've got Uncanny X-Men 1 through 544. I've got a lot of the variants in there, but I have at least one copy of each one of those. And where do I go from here? Do I collect something else? I mean, I've got X-Men Volume, what I used to refer to as Volume 2, but it's referred to as X-Men Volume 1 by CLZ. And the Jim Lee era, where it started there. I've got that whole set. I've got all of X Factor, got all of Cable, got all of New Mutants, the Volume 1. And so, I'm pretty big on the CGC grades based on value. PGX might be the way to go. Yeah, that's a great point, Agu, because CGC is going to slam me. They're going to say, oh, that's worth a lot of money, so I'm going to charge you extra. That really doesn't, I mean, I can understand them saying, hey, for insurance purposes, because if they mess up this book, they're going to be out lots more money than what they would be if they messed up a modern book. So I could understand it if they graded the grading scale for prices was, this year or older book is this much money. But to then say, okay, I am also going to charge you, if it's worth this much money, a percentage of the value. It's like, well, isn't that the fox in the hen house? Because the higher you grade my book, the more money you make. It seems like a conflict of interest to me. But I believe that CBCS does the same thing. I don't know that PGX does, but I don't want to say that for certain. So that is a great point, Agu. But I've been wondering, where do I go from here, with the runs? Big Batman, I like Spider-Man type deal. So I've kind of toyed around with some ASM and picked up a couple here and there of some key issues. It said Batman, good grief. I thought X-Men was hard. How hard is Batman going to be? Especially if you get up to, Batman 1, you're talking about some really serious money. I might have like a half of a page or something. It cost me $10,000. So I've kind of wondered about that. And then even if I went with Batman as an example, I don't have to do 1 through ever how many of Volume 1 there is. So 700 something maybe. You don't have to do all of those. I have all of Batman Volume 2 and Batman Volume 3, which is the current Batman run. But what do I get? So I've kind of been going win the lotto or sell firstborn. I've got 6 kids. My firstborn is acting like a doofus right now, so I might feel like selling him. And there was the old Cosby joke. We can't still use Cosby jokes, right? But it's the old Cosby joke that, hey, if you act up, I'm going to kill you, and me and your mother will make another one just like you. That was kind of a tongue-in-cheek joke because I did. So I've got 6 kids, and so I guess and one of them's as young as and one of them is as young as 6 months the other day. Um, so what do I do? And win the lotto, sell one of your six, one of the 6 kids or all over. So I've been kind of toying with that. Haven't really decided yet. I've kind of decided or kind of leaning toward just simply um, picking up some keys because there's still several keys outside of the X-Men universe, which is largely where I'm invested. There's some Batman keys like first Poison Ivy, different stuff like that. That's attainable, especially in grades that I'm okay with. Because a lot of my X Men are 2.5s or 3.0s or 5.0s. I'm okay with it as long as it presents well, especially if I'm going to, encapsulate it. I mean, I'm not going to be picking it back up as long as it presents well. It's pretty good. And then I'll go back and upgrade. I just sent recently. I've got a Uncanny X-Men 266 that I picked up. It's about a 9.2, and I had an 8.0, and did the same thing with my New Mutants 87. Went from an 8.0 to a 9.6. So yeah, I've already started doing some upgrading here and there, and I probably will do the same thing with some of my X-Men. Got my X-Men 4 which is or X-Men 3 rather, which is the first appearance of the Blob. It's a 4.0, and I've seen some 3.0s, but the colors were a lot better on the 3s than my 4.0. So I would rather have a lower grade but presents better. I've thought about that, or some of the ones that I did with the reproduction covers, and to find out. But yeah, definitely happy to finally add this bad boy to the old PC and be able to say that the journey is now complete. It's never really complete in actuality because just not too long ago, I picked up another X-Men 500, the Alex Ross cover. I had X-Men 500. I believe it was a Greg Land cover, but picked up the Alex Ross. Like Alex Ross didn't have it. Let's put it in the old PC. And so there'll be other ones like that. Like I said, I'll also upgrade, but not really sure where my real hard focus is going into the rest of this year. So happy that only 3 months into the new year, been able to wipe out those X-Men. I went into the year needing about 12 or 14, all of them on the lower number side. And yeah, so happy that I've been able to complete that, and looking forward to where the rest of this year takes us, provided that Corona doesn't derail everything. That is one of the good things about all this. Perry is a big fan of Dazzler. You should start a run on that series. Yeah, he is a big fan of the Disco Queen, and I think he had the hots for her personally. I do have the first appearance of Dazzler, and certainly all of those in that run. I do not have, what's the name of that graphic novel that Dazzler was in, where basically she admits that she's a mutant. I think it's like a concert poster that has Mutie written across the front of it. And then she had her series. Never was a real big fan of Dazzler. Yeah, her power set was well enough. It's just like she didn't really fit into the X-Men. And they've tried to bring her back a couple of times. Dazzler does doubt. I don't think that's the same Dazzler, Bub. I mean, what are you watching over there on your channel? Dazzler is probably not risque enough for Bub, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, right. Bub is misbehaving. When is Bub not misbehaving? Comic Mag Musings would be the better question. But yeah, so Dazzler was part of the team and everything, and she went through the Siege Perilous portal when they went through that Silvestri in of X-Men, and it was like issue 8 or 10 that she came out in. And then she admitted she was pregnant. Longshot said, what about Shatterstar? And so then they were tying that all back in. And then later on in X-Force, Shatterstar was his own dad. So Shatterstar came back. It was really weird, very, very convoluted. It's like, just leave well enough alone. That was his kid and his Dazzlers. And then she came back, but then he didn't. I don't think it really ever worked once she went through the Siege Perilous portal. So the moral of the story is that when you go through a Siege Perilous portal, sometimes you come back from being a British person to an Asian person. For example, Psylocke, or you come back going from ugly to hot, like Rogue, or you come back and you never fit in with again, like Dazzler. I remember Colossus lost his memory, and that's when the Shadow King had him. That was around X-Men 280 or 279. Sounds like Kentucky, cousin, uncles, daddies issues. Yeah, that's funny about that, Bub. I thought when I went to the Louisville Comic Con last year, my company, I went up there and hired a manager up there and started opening up things in Kentucky. And so when I went to Kentucky, my thought process was Kentucky, one of a few states that's less educated or less sophisticated than what Mississippi is. But when I went to Louisville, I was like, my goodness, they got things going on here. So maybe it's just parts of Kentucky, just like it's parts of any other state, because there are definitely parts of Mississippi that are where people are their own grandpa. Funny thing about that, my wife's grandparents were third cousins, and I was doing the family tree years ago, and I said, so and so is your uncle, right? Yeah, and I traced it back for him. I mean, third cousin's not really that far back, depending on how early or late somebody had kids. And they was like, yeah. I was like, so y'all are third cousins? No, we're not third cousins. Okay, whatever. Talking about cousins. Very hardly related joke, but it's funny nevertheless. Louisville doesn't count. The rest of the state hates them for their smart talk. Hey, yeah, maybe you're right. Hey, I just have to try to keep from saying Louisville, Bub, because there is a Louisville, Mississippi, and it's spelled the same way Louisville is. So every time I go to say Louisville, I have to think about Louisville Slugger. And then that's how I keep myself from saying Louisville, because I said Louisville a couple of times and people looked at me and said, what is your problem? That's not pronounced that way. But yeah, so let's talk about cousins. So I know this couple who are first cousins, literally, they're first cousins, and their daughter is blind. One would think that that's for that reason. And so we're at this couples retreat, and they're playing this little game. And they said, okay, they say that after you've been married for so long, you start looking like your relative. And so everybody vote for what couple looks the most alike. And they won. And everybody was like, yay, they won. I said, this is not fair. They're cousins. That's disqualified. They were born looking alike, right? And so, yeah, Bum, it's everywhere. Cousins, I guess cousins make dozens would be Perry's motto. And it's just one of those things. So yeah, I think that throughout the rest of the year, I'm gonna just, if the con scene starts opening back up, I've been doing these, getting these sketch covers done. I'll probably get, yeah, that is messed up. Boy, you should have seen everybody looking at me when I stood up and said, that is not fair. They were born looking alike. Everybody's like, well, I was thinking that, but I wasn't brave enough to say it. How dare you? That's so rude. But I mean, it's like, everybody, all the rest of you were thinking the same thing. But probably if the con scene starts getting back up to snuff, I'll start getting some more sketch covers as I visit random cons, get more SIGs, probably get some more books graded. As I'm at cons, who knows? We'll see. We'll see where Corona takes us throughout the rest of this year. But as for now, we can bask X-Men glory. To me, my X-Men. Even though technically he didn't say that until much later. Much later, officially, is when he said to me, my X-Men. So he said things like this: "Attention, X-Men. This is Professor Xavier calling. Repeat. This is Professor Xavier calling." Like you ever hear anybody else in your mind talking to you. "Oh, I have 500 voices in my mind. Oh, Professor X, how nice of you to join us." Anyway, so hopefully everybody's staying healthy out there. My all-time list is Batman's Rogue Gallery, Silver Age, Silver Age, and forwards. But this Punchline Hell Arisen thing is not feasible right now. Yeah, you're right. Well, just hang low, Agu, and eventually Punchline will come more in line with reality. And we'll be able to pick those up. I had picked up the regular Batman, was it 89, that I had, and I was on an auction. Actually, I think it was not last night's, but the time before that. All right, heading home. Be good people or not. Yes, Bob, that is kind of ironic that you should say for us to be good. Don't do nothing you wouldn't do, right? But thanks for stopping by, Bob. And the Hell Arisen deal. uh, Jay Blitz. Jay Blitz was selling it. I bought it for $30. I mean, I guess I could flip it for 40, but I'll probably just hang on to it. I wasn't getting that series aside from the Joker being on the cover. I do like the Joker. Love the Batman Who Laughs. Just got Batman the Killing Joke. And so I'll probably like do something maybe like Joker covers. JP's Budget Collecting did a deal where he got a Golden Age Batman with Catwoman on the cover, which was really sick. Thick looking. But I'll probably maybe do something like that for Joker. That'd be pretty cool. Since he's been on a lot of them, and most of them are pretty cool looking. Especially the Silver Age, like the Neil Adams was at 261, and beyond, or 251. When Joker was like a homicidal maniac, not just some nutcase with a clown costume. When he was a homicidal maniac, like Batman the Killing Joke, stuff like that. I mean, that's really, in my mind, classic Joker. And so anyway, do something like that, maybe, or maybe just collect Batman. Because there's a lot of good stories in Detective Comics, but I'm really, other than I've got every decade on the Detective 1000 covers, and I've got several of them signed, but I've got 1930s Batman, 1940s. I got all those, but other than that, I really don't have a lot of Detective Comics. There's a lot of good Batman stories in those. I know there's a couple of Red Hood appearances I want to get. I've got the death of Jason Todd, but I want to get the return of Jason Todd. There's some comics around that area, like with the Hush storyline that I've got. And so I'll probably fill in some of those gaps. And since I'm not having to pay like what I paid for books like this, can kind of spread the love around. And, the thing with no new comics coming out for at least 2 to 3 weeks, that $40, $50 a week that I was spending on New Comic Book Day, I can put towards that stuff pretty well too. I'm going to try to support my local my local comic shop as long as it stays open. I'm going to, like I mentioned in the video last night, going to try to support them by buying some used comics that have been on the want list. And certainly anybody that watches this video, whether live or later, hopefully you will do the same thing. But again, we're at 34 minutes, and appreciate everybody taking part in opening of this Grail and completing the circle. And so if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe buttons. Share the video. Check out the 400 subscriber video to figure out how you can enter to win some cool prizes. Comic Mag Musings, thanks for stopping by, man. And some cool prizes. All you have to do is be subscribed to the channel, and in that video say, I want to win. Thank you, Agu. and you don't have to be present. All you got to do is be 18 and be subscribed to the channel. Say I want to win in that particular video's comments, and you'll be entered to win. And when we hit 400, we're going to do some giveaways. When I hit 300, truth be told, I'm probably going to do some additional giveaways. So be checking out that. I guess with everybody being home, I have been getting more subscribers. Or maybe that's YouTube finally giving me some subscribers back that they had took away before. But in either case, do appreciate that. Appreciate all of you that are out there. Stay safe. And until next time, keep reading and keep collecting. Adios.